What's up, boys and
Hey
girls
guys.
in lamps and Apache helicopters? This is episode 15 of the Chaingang podcast.
Uh,
Chain
We
gang.
got we
Chain
got Andrew
gang.
Luck, who came out of retirement this week.
hey.
Uh,
It's good to be back.
yeah,
Good to be
Andrew
back.
Luck / Parker. Glad you could make it on the pod as Stat Boy. May or may not be getting deals done in South America.
He's getting sex
And,
trafficked in Ecuador.
So
yeah,
did he go? So he
lucky
got to
boy.
go to South America or Ecuador or whatever, Guatemala.
Yeah.
They didn't close down like France did, buddy.
Yeah, Ecuador.
I could be in France right now.
Yeah, so I don't know how Statboy made it through airport security. He
Yeah,
definitely had a bunch of.
Supposedly they smell your breath to see if it smells like Corona.
Yeah, but you already know that Statboy has a surprisingly, let's just say he has a large storage space for certain products, and in that way he's the perfect transporter. So I don't know how he made it through airport security, but glad he did. And
What are you doing?
And Justin is lost in Ryan's belly button. We don't know where he is. He
Justin-
drowned in there a while ago. He hasn't said anything for a couple days.
He's a lunk now. He can't come to us.
Yeah, so I don't know what's up with him. But I know he would want. I know he has a message from the grave. And boys, that is to enter in the Zach Wilson jersey giveaway. Okay, look at this fire jersey. Okay, there's only 2 in the world because they knew that only 2 people would buy it, and that is Zach Wilson and the Chaingang podcast.
Is that Russell Wilson's brother?
It's his long lost brother. Yeah, so
Yeah,
most people don't know that.
It's actually Steve Buscemi.
Right. So
Steve Buscemi is Zach Wilson.
Okay.
right. Both on the same level of attractiveness, for sure. So if you get this jersey, you will have a make 1 of 2 copy in the entire world. So I mean, that would make you pretty special. So I have the details to enter the giveaway in the description. It's on our Instagram. So go check it out, tag people,
I'm doing
like
the point
it,
thing.
do
I'm doing the
whatever.
point thing.
Yeah, thanks Ryan for showing everyone where it is.
Yep. No problem.
So boys, that's all I had to say before we started up. So kind of some headlines for the week we got. I'll go first. The Raiders had a surprising win against the Colts, and they made the AFC picture way more confusing than it already was. And it kind of makes me sad because now for the Steelers to have to get in the playoffs, the Jags have to beat the Colts. And the Raiders and the Chargers play each other. So basically the winner of that game gets, a wild card spot. So the Steelers are kind of screwed there, but the Raiders, I don't know if the Raiders won this game or the Colts lost. But I don't know. The Colts just didn't look themselves, to be honest.
Yeah, I think it happens to every team. I mean, the Chargers lost to the Texans a while back. So like I feel like every team at least once has a game where they're just like it just doesn't work. And I think that was that game for the Colts there. So yeah.
Yeah, I think when you're you lean on one person so much, you're gonna have games where you can't just win outright with that one guy. Like Jonathan Taylor is the entire offense, and he had a good game, but he didn't have a great game. So it's hard to win when you look like that.
Yeah, and I think honestly they were just so drained in general because the 2 previous weeks they beat the Patriots and the Cardinals, both hard-fought games, both close games. So honestly, I just think the Colts didn't really have much left in the tank, to beat the Raiders. And they probably honestly in the back of their minds figured, I mean, at least I would be like, we're probably going to make the playoffs, anyway. But, now that I think about it, Sam Ellinger didn't even play in that game because I think Carson Wentz was supposed to be out. And I think I even put that in there. And then I like flipped to the game, and he was just there. So I don't know where he came from, but it didn't help them. It didn't help them win. So yeah, the Raiders are making everyone's lives harder in the AFC. They also just came out of nowhere. They were playing like dog water, and all of a sudden they are now one of the favorites to get in the wild card. So
Yeah.
Another headline of the week. Don't know if you guys were watching if you've been on literally any social media site, you'll know Antonio Brown rips his shirt off, throws in the crowd, hops around on the field. He says that he was hurt and his ankle was hurt, blah, 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 and Bruce Arians told him to go in anyway. I say that's not the jumping pattern of a guy with a hurt ankle. He was bouncing around with no problem in the end zone. Bruce Arians disagrees. He wasn't hurt. Either way, he just left. He's out of there.
Look, I get like his ankle was definitely injured. Okay, he was questionable going into the game.
Everyone's
He played
injured.
through
It's
it
football.
last week. I know, but it's your ankle and you're a wide receiver.
He didn't go to a single doctor on the team
because they wouldn't let him. They
wouldn't let him. It is a business. You're gonna believe Antonio Brown?
Yes. I honestly in this situation, I believe
retiring.
Antonio Brown.
Antonio Brown literally said Ben's not retiring.
Okay, he did say that, but at the same time, just maybe he's wrong on that part. Okay, just hear me out here. Okay, he was jumping in the end zone or whatever. He didn't look injured, but I think his ankle was injured enough to the point where he couldn't run his routes, and he just because it's such every time you make a cut. On a route, it's so deteriorating on your ankle.
Why didn't he say that originally? Why did he instead say, I left because I'm a super gremlin?
What?
When he left, he posted a picture and said, I left because I'm a super gremlin. Why didn't he say it was because he was hurt?
Okay, I don't. I call BS. I don't know. Someone hacked his account.
You call me up on him being a super gremlin. You don't think he's a super gremlin.
Throw it up.
I think this
I believe him.
This whole situation is just messed up because there's also the Bruce Arians side of things where he was trying to be nice with him and was like, if you can't play, then don't play. And he just ended up playing anyways. It's just it's the weirdest thing. And it always happens with Antonio Brown where it's just it's such a he said, she said situation. And I hate it.
There'd be no she involved.
But man, is it entertaining to watch. It is so entertaining.
Oh, football is a soap opera now. It's beautiful.
It literally, if you watch the urinating tree days of our Steelers, oh man, it has not gotten better.
Yeah, look, my thing is that I don't know. It's such a weird story. I remember watching the game, and you just see him on the side. There's no audio. The announcers have no idea what's going on. He just you see Mike Evans walk over to him, and he just rips off his shirt, rips off his jersey, just starts hype. I don't know why, but he's hyping up the crowd.
The Jets crowd.
I don't know if
it was the Jets crowd.
Well, was he trying? Was he trying to get the support of the fans in what he was doing? That's the part that I don't get.
Them to be anti-Buck.
Yeah, I think honestly he was just showing that he could do whatever he wanted to. And he wanted the fans to back him up on that. Legitimately, I saw him. He was on the Full Send podcast, and I saw a clip, and he said he was thinking about mooning the crowd. Okay, he was to that point. So he just wanted to do whatever. But I don't support his decision to do that because that was his decision. Okay, I feel like a coach can't force you to leave in the middle of a game. I don't think that's a thing. So he definitely left on his own, but he was definitely driven to it. This was the statement he released, kind of summed up. So basically, he was sitting on the bench, and Bruce Arians came up to him and said, "What's wrong with you?" And he said, "My ankle." And obviously, he said Arians should have known this because like it's been tracked through the whole week. He also said he was on a bunch of strong painkillers that the NFL considers dangerous, and so then the coach told him to go on the field. He said, "I can't, my ankle," and then he told him again, and he said the same thing, and then apparently Arians just yelled, "You're done," and it went like this. What coach goes like this and says,
None, because
"You're
AB's
done"?
making it up.
I don't know about the finger across the throat thing.
Dude, you're being real biased because you didn't even put Arians what he said. Oh, you're all AB because you miss him. You miss the triple B killer bees, and you can't move past it. And now
how can I not miss him? He was the best receiver in the league for like 4 years for us. He was our offense.
AB's butt.
Here's my thing about this. Not a single player from the Buccaneers has said anything remotely close to AB's story or Bruce Arians' story. We have not heard a single thing from any of the Bucs teammates, players. The only person on the Bucs that said something is Tom Brady, and he just said he needs mental help, and that's all he said.
Did you hear what Gronk said? Gronk said,
"No, I missed that.
I was smacking heads against 300-pound linemen."
I love Gronk. I hate him so much, but I love him.
Classic Gronk.
Look, my thing is like you don't leave your team mid-game. Okay, that was disrespectful.
He's a super gremlin.
I don't support that decision at all. But if you're a coach and like a guy tells you he can't play, I feel like in this situation it might have been a little more biased because of AB's history of just not being fully committed to the team.
Is that biased or is that making an educated guess?
Look, I think it's biased because if a player says that if he's injured going into
he never said he was injured. He didn't go to anyone on the Bucs organization.
He said he was injured. He was questionable the entire week.
Yeah, but he didn't go see a doctor.
It was
by
there.
The Bucs. Yeah, he went to some outside doctor, the same guy who gave Aaron Rodgers his vaccination. Okay, it doesn't count. It's not real.
No, it was. It was documented throughout the entire week. I swear to God.
comes with his McLovin vaccination card, and then all of a sudden his ankle's hurt, and Dylan's buying it.
I'm buying it because he was questionable even the week before with his ankle.
Yeah.
Look, he was definitely injured, okay? My thing is that as a coach, you don't tell a player to leave because he says he can't play when you know he's injured, okay? That's my thing. Look, I don't support AB just leaving the game. I thought that was totally unprofessional. That basically he retired right there. Okay, no team should pick him up. He should not be picked up by any team. I don't care what people say. The Packers are not going to pick him up, and there's going to be some like revenge story with the Bucs in the NFC Championship. Okay, that's not going to happen. He's done. Okay, I don't know what team, what player would want to play with him. Nobody. So I can't look. I can't trust AB.
The Jets.
I can't. But
the Jets are gonna pick him up.
But look, he's also doing a bunch of cameo videos now, and like he said something about liking Saquon and Danny Dimes. I just feel like now he's like the Kardashians. He's just making up plot lines or just like headlines so that people can just feed into the story.
Yeah, like when Chris released Kim's porn video.
Exactly. So like he is the headline this week, and he wants to keep it that way.
Video.
So I don't know. I trust AB with the situation, but I don't like how he dealt with it. That's my
think. Yeah, it's just like there's truth to this story somewhere, and that's it. That's all you can say about it. There is a true story somewhere, and it's probably a mix of both AB's story and Bruce Arians' story. But if I have to trust anybody, I have never heard anything bad about Bruce Arians being a coach and being this mean to his players. Therefore, I'm going to support Bruce Arians on this. I think AB's just full of it. Maybe there's something to do with his ankle. It's so weird. No team's going to want him. No team's going to take him. His career is done. He'll occasionally pop up in social media saying that he wants to return, and no team's going to want him, and that's that. Wait, doesn't Antonio Brown have kids?
Yeah.
He does.
Oh, dear God. All right. So our third headline is the Bengals pulling off a major upset and beating the Chiefs on a time expiring field goal to win 34-31.
Ooh.
I got to watch the tail end of it. That was just a very interesting game all around. I think if we get a Bengals Chiefs matchup in the playoffs, it's going to be really interesting, and I'm very excited about it.
Did the Bengals get bailed out by the refs though?
Oh,
Yes.
100%. At least once or twice.
150%. I will bet my bank account that happened. I will.
Yep.
Look, kudos to the Bengals. Kudos to Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. They put up a historical
Jamar
performance.
Chase was disgusting.
Jamar Chase had more receiving yards than Patrick Mahomes. Okay, that's how well he played. It seemed like
Say that
every
one more time. Say that
Parker,
again.
he had more receiving yards than Mahomes had throwing.
Okay, there we go.
Not
Did
just
I say?
receiving as well.
Did I say more
You
receiving?
just said more yards than Mahomes, so it sounded like as if you meant he had more receiving yards than Mahomes had receiving yards.
Okay. I was gonna say I thought that's maybe how
And
it
yes,
came off.
he actually did have that too.
Yeah, true. But it just seemed like every time Jamar Chase was throwing the ball, no matter where it was, he grabbed it. So Jamar Chase is making Joe Burrow a top 10 quarterback. Joe Burrow also played amazing. He had like 400 some yards and like 4 touchdowns. But that last like 2 minutes of that game was the weirdest 2 minutes I've ever seen. There were so many I think the Bengals had 2 missed penalties and like they like scored twice and then like didn't score twice on 4th down and like they got bailed out a couple times. Like there were just terrible calls. Like I just didn't like how that game ended. I don't know. It was very odd.
It was.
So to me, I don't understand how the Chiefs just turned off the heat in the second half. I'm pretty sure they didn't score any points, or maybe they scored like 7 or something. I don't know. They just like disappeared in the second half.
I think that's a kudos to the Bengals defense for shutting down Mahomes and figuring out how to do it effectively.
Well, the Steelers did the same thing when the Chiefs' third string went in, so I don't know. We're about to say.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think this makes the Bengals a strong Super Bowl contender, to be honest. I think the playoffs is a completely different story.
I do think they can make a decent playoff run, though.
I mean, it depends on their matchup. They'll probably have to play. I think it's looking like they might have to play the Patriots in the first round, which I mean they'll play in Cincinnati, so that'll make it better. But I don't know. I think
they can beat the Patriots. I think it could go either way, but I think they can beat the Patriots.
I don't know, man. I think I think Bill Belichick is going to know how to shut down Jamar Chase.
I think J.C. Jackson can definitely shut down Jamar Chase, but 2 games ago, T. Higgins had an insane game. T. Higgins can go off if he needs to.
Yeah, true. But, Bill Belichick is he's known for taking out your best player. And I think that's what they're going to do. And, I don't know. I don't know. I don't think the Bengals defense is going to have answers for what Bill is going to
For what, Ramondre Stevenson?
No, what Bill Belichick, what he's going to do. No one knows what he's going to do. No one knows what plays he's going to call. No one knows who's getting the ball. Mac Jones doesn't even know who's getting the ball.
Mac Jones knows as long as he doesn't throw it, he's good to go.
Yeah, true. So, yeah, but we'll see how the Bengals do, in the playoffs. But to wrap up the headlines, I have to put this one in. Big Ben pulls off the dub in his last home game to keep the Steelers' slim playoff chances alive. It was a very emotional game, but I think it ended perfectly. I don't think he would have had it any other way. I just thought it was perfect.
Yeah, it was. As a Steeler fan, I have never like had another quarterback other than, I mean, if you want to call Mason Rudolph
What? No.
there and
No.
Doug Hodges, but
Absolutely
I
not.
don't consider it. I've
No.
never had another quarterback other than Ben.
Yeah.
Maybe this strange season with Mike Vick, but even then, like Ben has been my quarterback, and it's going to be so weird in the future whether the Steelers want to, pull Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, but at this point I'm just relishing in the fact that, I got to see one of the legends play. And it's just, it was a very quality win watching him kneel.
Yeah.
Seeing his kids, like it was, good. It was just a bittersweet moment for everybody involved.
Yeah. Parker, like you said, it's like weird because like even when we had other quarterbacks, I was like, oh, Ben will be back soon. Like it's fine. And then like now it's like
he won't
be back. He won't be back. But it was good to see him not only win, but get to kneel the ball and against such a big division opponent too. Like it was just a really good game for it to happen with. It's always fun to beat the Browns, especially when Ben can do it one last time. And he got all emotional after the game, and it was quite sad, and I got all sad. But it was good. It was good that he had that.
Yeah, I honestly I didn't expect to get sad, but then when he started crying, I was like, oh my God, like this is the end. This is the end of a dynasty. Like this is crazy. But what I didn't realize is over, in his entire career, he has never lost to the Browns at home.
Wow.
He was undefeated against them at home. That's insane.
Crazy.
Even if the Browns have been so bad, over his whole career, but I still think that's like so impressive. Like, I don't know how he pulled it off.
I agree.
Even the random 2009 season where the Browns had like Josh Cribbs and they were popping off, like they still beat them at home. Also, another stat for Big Ben is that I'm 95% sure it's like him and 6 other quarterbacks have beat all 31 teams, and he's like the only team he hasn't beat is the Steelers, obviously. And the historic career, he's the longest tenured quarterback by one team, and I think that's great. So
I think you could argue he beat the Steelers a couple times, probably.
Yeah.
But yeah, shout out to Big Ben. I thought I would be happy to see you retire, just because he has like, if he's on the team, like Mike Tomlin's going to start him, and I can't lie, like he hasn't been.
It's a sadness of what was, not what he is.
Right, but like it was just like, okay, I would say I'm happy. I would be happy in the fact that like we would get like another quarterback because like Big Ben's kind of he's not what he was, and it's very difficult for him to throw for 200 yards. Like you know what I mean? Like he's an old quarterback. He's just not fully. He's not there. So it's good to have a fresh start, but at the same time, sad to see him go. Okay, gentlemen, the next topic we got up, as we do every week, and we're not definitely doing this at the end. I totally remember to do this after headlines of the week. It's Chaingang players of the week. We obviously have some obvious candidates, but I'll go first as usual, not picking the obvious one. I'm gonna go with TJ Watt. My boy put up some big numbers and really helped the Steelers dominate the Browns. The Browns could not do anything. TJ Watt had 4 sacks, and I'm pretty sure he had at least 1 or 2 pass deflections. So my boy played great this week. He just showed why he is unanimously should be Defensive Player of the Year. If he gets screwed over again, I swear I don't know what I'm going to do. I will do something really bad. I will walk across a freezing pond if he doesn't win.
I will buy a Penny Sewell jersey if he doesn't get off it.
Oh God, that might be worse.
Weird.
Yeah, I don't know. I've been a fan of the Lions lately. Their social media team has me hooked. But my player of the week is another player I'm a big fan of. I hate the team, but I love the guy. Is Joe Burrow. Oh boy, Watching him ball out with no name on the back, I was like, that
He's
that's
a team
nice.
player.
Like that goes hard. So yeah, he has 30 of 39, 446 yards and 4 touchdowns against a very good Chiefs defense. So props to him. Like he balled out. So
And he produced some pretty quality pictures after
He
that.
did.
After that dub,
True. What a stud.
dude,
What an absolute stud.
he's the stat boy of the NFL.
Facts. Absolutely. Well, my player of the week is our boy Dylan. You know the guy. You know the guy, Dylan.
I really don't, because he's not our boy.
You know the guy, Dylan. You know
Just
the guy.
say it. I don't know who it is. I mean, I
You know
know
the guy.
who it should be, because if we left him out, we would look like idiots. But
Well, I'm gonna leave him out, and we are idiots.
no, please don't leave him out. Please.
Okay, I won't leave him out. I just wanted
Okay.
to do that to see if anyone would care.
What a dick.
Jamar Chase was an absolute freak this week.
Yes,
Joe
sir.
Burrow said it best. F it, Jamar's down there somewhere. 11 receptions for 266 yards and 3 touchdowns. He was just disgusting. They had like 5 people surrounding him, and he would just run anywhere and catch the ball anywhere and just score. I mean, it didn't matter how many people were on him. He was catching that ball. It was insane.
Yeah, it was a stellar performance. It was honestly like a flashback to Calvin Johnson, where Stafford would just throw the ball up and double covered, triple covered, Calvin Johnson's catching it. So
Exactly.
yeah, kudos.
And that was Jammer.
Yeah, kudos to those boys. The Cowboys. But guys, I don't know if their dynasty can start, because their offense hasn't been looking as great as it did in the beginning of the season. And my question to you guys is, are you worried about the Cowboys offense going into the playoffs? If you're a Cowboys fan, I should say that, because I know
as a Cowboys
less
fan,
about the Cowboys, but
Yes,
if we were
of course.
a Cowboys fan.
I, as a Cowboys fan, would always be worried about my offense because of how sporadic they are. You know, Dak seems to just like get in his own head or something, and he does really well. Even if it's not a whole game, he'll just have like a couple drives of who knows what's going on, and it screws the whole game up for him. And you know, Zeke isn't what he used to be, even when he's on. So that's always a concern. But you do have Pollard to back up on, which is nice. And Dak has the ability. So I wouldn't be super worried, because your offense has the ability. It's just, are they going to be there or not? And honestly, I don't even know if they know. Like, I'm not sure the offense can even decide that.
No.
Bottom line, the Cowboys suck, and they will always suck. And that's the bottom line.
That is the bottom line.
Dude, to me, like, the some of the defenses they're going to have to play in the playoffs, you know, when you look, you know, you got the Packers, the Rams, the Bucs, the 49ers. These are all like top 10 defenses, okay? The Cowboys only look good against average defenses. I am super worried if I'm the Cowboys, okay? Against the Cardinals, okay, they had 3 touchdowns. Let's go through these 3 touchdowns. The first one, there was 3 defensive penalties and 1 called back.
For those listening, Ryan just took a nunchuck out of his mouth, and that is why we stopped and started laughing.
I don't know anymore. He just.
I agree, Dylan. Penalties are definitely a problem.
Yeah, I mean, they are. And, like, I feel like it's the only way the Cowboys can score. Like, their second touchdown, they started on the Arizona 31, and Dak fumbled during the possession. The next possession, Dak loses the fumble. And then the third touchdown was the only one they actually, like, drove 75 yards, and there wasn't really any major penalties. So, and the first touchdown, I think 2 of those defensive penalties were pass interference. So, you know, they were significant penalties. They had 6 offensive penalties against the Cardinals. They only had 45 rushing yards. I mean, this offense is just they're doing less than taking or taking what the defense is giving them. They're doing even less than that, which I didn't even know was possible. Zeke sucks. Michael Gallup just tore his ACL. Dalton Schultz, to me, is the only light in this offense right now. I can't believe I'm saying that, but
the Cowboys in general,
CeeDee Lamb has not been doing well. Honestly,
Lamb's fine.
The Cowboys in general, their only statement win this season was in like week 5 when they beat the Patriots, and they beat them in overtime. And it was when the Patriots sucked in the beginning of the season. We're 2-4, and their other statement win was against a horribly brutalized, COVID-ridden Washington football team. There is no way the Cowboys win any playoff games this year, next year, and the year after that. They play in the weakest division. None of their wins have been good.
That's true. They have yet to be the 10-win team.
Yeah, the only reason that they have wins this season is because they play in a weak division. That's it.
You know what I'm really excited for, though, is when they beat the Eagles this week.
No, the Eagles are going to crack them.
No.
I'm calling it now. The Eagles are cracking them.
Dude, I don't want that. I hate the Eagles.
Look, getting back to it, Dak has been terrible. He's only had one game in the past 5 where he's had over 250 passing yards. And he's not playing good secondaries. He played the football team twice, the Giants. I mean, he did play the Saints, who have a good secondary, and the Cardinals had like 3 corners out. So Dak just isn't looking good. Zeke isn't looking good. I think the play calling is terrible.
Yes.
This offense sucks. And for once in a lifetime, their defense is not going to be the thing holding them back, because Michael Parsons has completely changed it. And they do have a playoff defense. I'll give them that. They
have the people for a playoff offense, but they don't have a playoff offense.
They don't have a playoff offensive coordinator, head coach, or whoever's calling the plays back there. Is not the answer. Not the answer. So
they're coached by Mike McCarthy. If you're coached by Mike McCarthy, you're guaranteed -2 wins.
Yeah. So if I'm a Cowboys fan, I am insanely worried going into the playoffs. I don't have any faith in this team whatsoever. I don't think they're going to do anything.
Anyway, speaking of the worst division in football, how do you guys think the Eagles are going to do in the playoffs? Right now, they are the top rush offense in the NFL, 160 yards per game, mostly because of their quarterback. But Miles Sanders has been doing decent. He's got 5.5 yards per carry. They have 7th best defense. And, they've kind of proved themselves that they have a starting caliber quarterback at this point. They have had the lowest strength of schedule of the playoff teams, so that could be why they made the playoffs. But tough to say. As of right now, they would be playing the Rams to start off.
Yeah, look, I'm tired of seeing Eagles TikToks about how no one thought they were going to make the playoffs, and everyone thought they were going like 3-14, and everyone thought the Vikings were going to make it, and now that they're in, and everyone should be scared of them. Okay, it's all a front. Okay, they're thinking that because they're underdogs, like the whole Nick Foles Cinderella story is going to happen again. But guess what? It's not. It's not. Okay, look, their combined record of teams they've played since week 10 is 39-71. I just don't. I don't understand the hype around the Eagles. Okay, I know they have a good defense. I know they Jalen Hurts is making the offense look good because of his ability to run, but I don't see them beating any of the division leaders. None of them. And they would have to play one of them. So I don't have any faith in this team. I don't think they're going to do anything.
Absolutely not. Jalen Hurts he's a good quarterback at this point, but they just don't have everything putting together. Their receivers aren't doing that well. Devonta Smith's doing good, but he's not getting the ball much, so it doesn't matter if he's doing good or not. They're just running the ball all the time, and you can't always rely on that. And they were tied with the Giants 3-3 at one point in the first half of when they played the Giants. And the Giants had freaking Colt McCoy, not Colt McCoy, but
Mike Glennon.
Else who sucked. Yeah, Mike
Glennon.
I don't wish they had Colt
scared
McCoy.
Me. The TikTok Mike Glennon are one of my favorite things right now. Because it's just him running, and it's just like, Mike Glennon. And it's just him running out on the field.
Yes, the Eagles just aren't it. They have a good defense, but it's not going to slow down one of the contenders enough for their offense to try to keep up. And these contenders that are in the playoffs have good defenses, so they can't just rush all over them all game like they are used to. I don't think they're going to go anywhere in the playoffs. And don't forget, they have the worst fan base in the world.
Better luck next year, Eagles.
Yeah, and Ryan, because they have the worst fan base in the world, you already know we're going to hear all the excuses for when they lose. It's going to be the ref's fault. If one play was different, the whole entire game would have changed.
Oh yeah,
I'm tired of it.
It was a 30-point swing. That one play was a 30-point swing, Dylan.
Yeah, I'm tired of hearing about the underdog Eagles and all this BS. It just hurts my brain so much because they're playing the top rush defenses in the league, okay? The Rams are the 6th best rush defense. The Bucs are the 3rd best rush defense. And I'm pretty sure the Packers are in the top 10. I mean, they won't play them because they get a first-round bye. But the Cowboys have, like, the 4th best rush defense. So they're not going to be able to do the only thing that they can do on offense. So I don't see, like, they're lucky to make the playoffs as it is, okay? They're not going to do anything. On to the next topic. I don't want to talk about the Eagles anymore.
Wisconsin shit curds.
Okay.
So,
Parker,
boys, the next topic that we're going to talk about is who needs encroachment / encouragement. What players or teams need a pep talk to get going? Who has been struggling and needs a kick in the butt right before the playoffs start? Because we all know you can't be slacking before the playoffs. So, guys, what players or teams needs encroachment?
I think that the Buccaneers need encroachment because ever since their bye week, they just have not been the Buccaneers that we saw last year. We saw the beginning of this year, the Super Bowl team. I don't know. Their offense has just not put it together. They've had a couple good weeks.
You want
They've
to
had
say
a week
hi?
or two.
No. Okay. Sorry, my dad just walked in.
That's fine.
What noise did he make?
Woohoo!
That was good. That was good.
He agrees with Ryan's encroachment.
Bucs need encroachment because they almost lost to the Jets last week, and that's horrible. So
the Jets
the Jets can put it
really
together,
weird team sometimes.
They
believe,
but nonetheless,
believe. He's getting better. Okay.
They've lost to the Saints since the bye week. They lost to the football team or something weird.
Oh well, since the
I'm gonna look that
bye,
up for
possibly.
Since the bye, yeah.
Yeah.
So they just haven't been putting it together like they were before the bye, and I think going into the playoffs, they're going to need to.
Look, I think the thing with the Bucs is that they've dealt with so many offensive injuries that it's going to affect them, to a point. Leonard Fournette went down, Chris Godwin, Mike Evans was out for a little bit. Now Antonio Brown's off the team. That's a lot of weapons to lose, okay? And even Tom Brady is going to take a hit there. But kudos to him for coming back in that game. Throwing like a 40-yard touchdown to some dude named Grayson that I've never heard of in my entire life. He just popped out of the abyss and just scored the winning touchdown against the Jets. I'm still mad about that game because they decided to go for it they did a QB sneak on 4th and 2, and they were up by 4 in field goal range, which made absolutely no sense to me. I understand, trying to have less time for Tom Brady or scoring a touchdown and making it 2 scores. But if you're going to go for it, don't do a QB sneak on 4th and 2. Anyway, I mean, I agree, Ryan. The Bucs have definitely played worse. But I think once they get some of those offensive weapons back, which I guess they would only get Leonard Fournette back because I believe Chris Godwin's out for the year. And Antonio Brown's definitely not coming back.
he's out forever.
So, hey, look, if Gronk can stay healthy and Mike Evans can stay healthy,
and Scotty
I think I think this team, they're going to have to fight, but I mean, Tom Brady's still playing at an MVP level. So I think this team has the possibility. But you're right. I would say the Bucs do kind of need that extra kick in the butt. Not that they're playing that bad. It's just they have to get to that next level. If they're going to go on the playoff run they did this year. But one team that needs encroachment, but I don't want to give it to them, is definitely the Ravens. Okay,
Ooh,
they're on a 5-game losing streak, and a lot of people were confident that they were going to be strong Super Bowl contenders, and now they probably won't even make the playoffs. I understand over those 5 games they had a very difficult schedule. They've had to play the Steelers, the Browns, the Packers, the Bengals, and the Rams. But when you're losing to the Browns, and especially the way Baker's playing right now, that's definitely a warning sign. They've had a lot of injuries on defense, but it's not like Tyler Huntley's playing bad, honestly. It's just like the offensive line has sucked. They've given up the most sacks in the league. Devontae Freeman's only averaging like 4 yards a carry. Latavius Murray, I think, is averaging like 3. But they're just not playing smart. They're not playing well. The only guy Mark Andrews is the Ravens right now. Okay, he's doing it all, and he needs some help. So
I've actually been impressed with Huntley though.
Look, I am too. I think honestly he has starting quarterback talent.
Oh, absolutely.
But he's just.
I'd take Huntley over Bridgewater.
Oh, I don't know about that one. I think I would still take Bridgewater.
Huntley's upside is way too high to not take him over Bridgewater. I mean, Bridgewater doesn't have the upside Huntley does.
Bridgewater is definitely injury prone.
Yeah, and he's not going to have the flashy games like Huntley can have.
All right. Well, back to encroaching the Ravens. They've also the last thing I'm going to say about them is I don't understand their 2-point attempts. Okay, I feel like they've lost 3 games from failed 2-point attempts. They lost to the Steelers on a final play of 2-point attempt, which made absolutely no sense to me because why wouldn't you bank on the Steelers offense sucking and giving faith in Lamar Jackson? Because Lamar Jackson was healthy for that game.
Yeah.
And then their first game without Lamar Jackson, they went for 2 against the Browns with 9 minutes left and forced themselves to be down 2 scores, which I guess is not like – I mean, it looks bad now, obviously, because, they lost because they then scored a touchdown and then, couldn't go for 2 because it wouldn't matter because then it would be, 23-24. And then I agree with the 2-point attempt against the Packers because you're not going to beat them at overtime. So I agree with that. But still, I don't know. I mean, I don't want them to win this week, but if any team needs encroachment, it's the Ravens.
I think the reason that they went for 2 against the Steelers is because they were missing like all of their cornerbacks, and they didn't want to go into overtime being down some cornerbacks. So it was either then. But keep in mind, if any one of those 2-point conversions like convert, we're talking about how well like the maybe moving forward more teams going for 2.
True, but we're not because they didn't.
They're not because they've also had horrible play calling, and other than Mark Andrews, or Lamar Jackson throwing a horrible pass. Like all of their 2-point conversions have either been fluky plays or just bad play calling in general. So I think just more teams should go for 2, and I like that the Ravens tried it. And I think another reason too is because they the Ravens are playing a long con here. They realize that Lamar Jackson isn't coming back, and if they miss the playoffs, they're going to get a good draft choice. So I think they're just kind of saying, "Hey, Lamar Jackson, we've dropped 4 straight at this point. Now 5 straight actually. Just take a seat, rest up, call it in. We'll see about next season and get a nice draft choice."
Reasonable.
That's it's a reasonable thing. And there's no shame in that because I think a lot of those players are returning too. I don't
Yeah,
think
they
they're
do the
losing a
young
lot of.
team for the most part.
Mm-hmm. Get a nice offensive lineman, get a nice cornerback, get another running back to help Devontae Freeman and Latavius Murray out, and call it a day.
Okay.
So
Sounds good.
Parker, who's who needs encroachment? It's so hard to say. Who do you think needs encroachment? Who needs it?
Thanks.
The Chargers.
Really?
They started
But
off this
they-
season
They're
so
coming off-
good.
Yeah, they're coming off a win against the Broncos, though.
It was a nice win against the Broncos, but you also lost to the
beat down
Texans.
the Broncos. Yeah.
If I'm the Chargers and if I'm a Chargers fan, which they don't exist, but they're there, like
somewhere.
I'm
It's like a needle in a
terrified
haystack.
about this playoffs.
I
I'm
agree.
terrified. They play a really do they have the playoff spot locked up? No, they don't.
No.
They don't even have the playoff spot locked up.
They have to beat the Raiders or tie them if
honestly, and I don't know if they can
if the
do
Jags
it
win.
because like all of the Chargers wins, like they're such a weird team because they have very nice quality wins. Like they beat the Bengals pretty nicely. I think they beat the Chiefs at one point earlier in the season.
Yeah.
They did.
But the loss against the Texans, and then it's like if there's any team that I'm like, you just need a little push, and then you're like golden. It's the Chargers.
They have such a great team when they can be great, but then it's just they just like don't know what they're doing sometimes. Stupid stuff.
Honestly, I don't know if this comparison is going to make sense, but to me, the Chargers are the AB of NFL teams. That makes any sense. One week they're like godly, they're amazing. Okay, they go off. The next week they lose to the Texans, and they look like a D2 college team. Like who lets the Texans score 41 points on them?
That's
okay.
Terrible.
That's a beyond god.
And to have their like a pick
water
six
defense
and other crap like that.
Yeah,
Awful.
like I mean,
horrible.
Am I too far off by saying that?
Oh,
I don't think so.
But boys, Terrell Owens has recently been in the news this week as he randomly is for no reason. I don't understand why he's ever in the news, but sometimes his name just pops up. He wants to replace Antonio Brown on the Bucs. But I mean, I'm pretty sure he's like older than Tom Brady at this point.
Dude,
so
he's
Mike,
like 63.
should the Bucs look at another receiver, even if it's not Terrell Owens? Yeah. So, I mean,
absolutely not.
I think it wouldn't hurt to look for another receiver because Godwin's out, Brown's dead. Should not look for T.O. T.O.'s like 103, and also he has the exact same personality as AB anyway. They're just replacing one.
No. I knew someone was gonna say this. I looked at the comparisons of like T.O. and AB. T.O. was never as bad as AB with
not
the missed
meetings.
You're right. He does have the same personality kind of on the field, I would say.
Yes,
but
field personality.
Yeah.
No, I think Terrell Owens absolutely not. Other receivers, absolutely. Alshon Jeffrey, Devin Funchess, Des Bryant. I think those are the names you look at.
Des Bryant's also 103.
I think Des Bryant is a good receiver, and Des caught that ball.
Look to me.
40 years ago, Des caught that ball.
Look to me, I think we all know what needs to happen, and I don't think anyone has said it, and I don't know how no one has said it. But Tom Brady needs to give a call to Truly Incorporated, I don't know, company, whatever. Have them link him to Julian Edelman and get him back on the football field.
Dude, Julian Edelman already told Brady no.
He's missing. Look, Scotty Miller is not what Scotty Miller hyped himself up to be. Okay, he's just not it.
Scotty Miller is everything.
But Cedric Grayson, if that's even his first name, is getting more opportunities than Scotty Miller. And so Scotty Miller's really not it. So
Des caught that ball was in
bring Julian
2014.
Edelman out of retirement.
I
Exactly.
feel so old.
Bring Julian
Julian
Edelman
Edelman
out of
already
retirement.
told Brady no.
No, it doesn't. No, but it's even a better opportunity because
You're
he's
not
the
raping
second.
him.
He's the second receiver, and he would play with Gronk and Brady. Just
Edelman's done
get in
nothing
under the
except be
Super Bowl.
Jewish for the past 2 years. He has not the physical aspect of football that he needs.
It doesn't matter.
No,
Brady makes 5'10" white receivers godlike. Doesn't matter what physical condition they're in.
Well, then what's wrong with Scotty Miller?
Scotty Miller apparently is in his own head thinking he's faster than Tyreek Hill, and I'm convinced he's just watching Tyreek Hill's sprint videos and just sprinting on the sideline trying to beat Tyreek Hill, not even worrying about the game.
I don't need to catch a
I
ball.
think
I run.
as much as
He
I would
just
love for
runs.
them to pull free agents, they're probably not.
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, it's not like there's high quality ones.
There's not like a big one that I would
it's just a
see them
bunch of
going for.
like old,
Yeah.
maybe they had some name recognition at some point, but it's not like they're anything now. I think honestly the best option they have is either David Moore, Seth Roberts, and a decent amount of people, probably 12 out of 13 people watching this, don't know who either of those people are. So I
don't know. They're going to
Brady.
upgrade.
I mean,
from
you
those
have
free
you
agents.
have Brady. He's one of those guys you can just plug in really anybody, and they're gonna fill the necessary role that Brady needs them to do. Obviously, they're not going to be playmakers like Chris Godwin or Antonio Brown, but they're going to get the job done. So,
yeah. Well, Dylan, speaking of Scotty Miller being faster than Tyreek Hill, we have some other interesting races going on right now, and that is, will there be some records broken this season? It's getting close, especially with we have our 17 game season, which is a big deal, especially with records.
Right.
So some stuff that was pretty close. Cooper Kupp is at 1,829 yards, and the record with Calvin Johnson was 1,964 yards. So Cooper Kupp needs 140 yards about, and he faces the 49ers though. So that's fourth best passing defense. You think he's going to get there?
I think he is, solely because, look, the 49ers at corner are really depleted right now. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe Josh Norman is one of the only starting corners right now for the 49ers. And Cooper Kupp has the widest smile on his face when he sees that, because he knows that he's better than Odell Beckham, and Josh Norman is not what he used to be.
That's true.
I think Cooper Kupp is fully capable of getting the yards record, especially when 49ers have beaten the Rams 5 games in a row, and it's going to be a competitive game. So it's not like they're going to blow the 49ers out of the water. They're going to have to throw the whole game. They're going to have to rely on the Rams. And you know what? Shout out to the Rams for predicting this, because I think this is what happened when they signed OBJ. Was they saw this game was coming up. They saw the 49ers had Josh Norman. They knew Cooper Kupp would be close to the receiving record. So they signed OBJ to distract Josh
Norman away.
But just the entire defense. Like the OBJ Josh Norman rivalry is so entertaining that it's just going to distract every defensive player, and Cooper Kupp is just going to be wide open. No one's going to care about him because they just want to watch the OBJ Josh Norman matchup.
I agree.
Then Cooper Kupp gets the record, and he's looked at better than Calvin Johnson. No, I'm just kidding. That's never going to happen.
I think he'll break it too. I think it's going to be a big game for him. Like you said, the 49ers just don't have the corners that they need to stop him. And both teams are going to be coming out swinging, because it's a big game for both teams. The Rams need it for playoff seeding to win the division, and the 49ers need it to make the playoffs. It's really important for both teams. So no one's going to come out just sitting back, not going hard in the paint. I think it's going to be a good game. I think Kupp could definitely break that. And I also think while he's at it, he's going to break the receiving receptions record for numbers. I don't know if you know, Michael Thomas has 149 and Kupp's at 138. That's only 9 receptions. I lied. That's 11 receptions.
That frightens me greatly, since you're an engineering major, and 149 minus 138 is not 9.
11. I'm a little bit slow in the brain.
Yeah, you can do like Calc 7, but not simple
Algebra.
subtraction. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Math
I think he has I think he's going to break a record. And honestly, if he's going to break one of the two, it's probably going to be receptions because Cooper Kupp gets targeted like 15 times a game. And, he's kind of like Slant Boy in the fact that he doesn't run a ton of deep routes. So, and Matthew Stafford's a pretty
Yeah, but he
accurate
does a lot of
quarterback.
stuff other than slants. It's not like he's just doing
Well,
one
right, but I'm
post
saying he
route.
does like shorter routes in general,
Yeah.
so it's easier to, target him there. And Matthew Stafford's a very accurate quarterback, so
True.
I see him getting the receptions record as well. So it's going to be a big day for Cooper Kupp, but I know he's already said that there's going to be like an asterisk, because it is 17 games, and that's
Yeah, but it's going to be 17 games for years. So, like,
right.
for the
It's going
foreseeable
to
future, it'll
it's
be
going to
17.
set a new
So,
standard. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Park, you think he's going to break it?
Receptions, yes. Yards, also yes.
All right.
Okay, Cooper
Yeah.
Kupp.
Let's see it, Cuppy.
I did honestly. If Cooper Kupp gets both those records, I feel like you can't rule him out for MVP.
That's true. I don't think it's hard to rule him out.
And he's also in line to get the Triple Crown, which only 4 receivers have done, leading the league in receptions, yards, and touchdowns.
Wow.
So
yeah,
he's
you
having
gotta
an historic
think about him for
historic
sure.
year.
Our next record that could be
Solidfies it.
broken is our boy TJ Watt. He is at 21 sacks right now, and he needs 22.5 sacks to beat Michael Strahan. And this one, you don't necessarily need to put an asterisk around because of injuries. TJ Watt has only played 14 games so far this season, and he's facing the Ravens.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've watched the Alejandro Villanueva highlights, but I think TJ Watt will have no problem getting these sacks because Villanueva just slaps people on the way by and watches Lamar or Tyler Huntley get absolutely rocked. So I think he's gonna break this one, and I'm gonna be pumped.
Yeah, I agree because against a good Browns offensive line, he got 4 sacks last week. Boy, anyway, the Ravens have given up the most sacks this year. TJ Watt is playing out of his mind. There's no doubt in my mind that TJ Watt's going to get the sack record.
Absolutely.
100%.
Park?
Yeah, no, he's getting it.
Park?
Even if he plays on Alejandro Villanueva's side, or if he plays on the other tackle, who I can't remember, he's 100% gonna get it. He averages, I think, like
Andy Reid.
2 sacks a game. Yeah, it could be Andy Reid, but
Andy Reid.
he averages like 2 sacks a game, anyways. So yeah, no, he'll be fine.
Yeah, no, he's cool.
Yeah.
Also,
Yeah, he's gonna break it.
another last one we got, which your boy Brady, he's always taking records, Right now, the current record for most passing yards in a season is 5,477. Tom Brady is at 4,990, so he needs almost 500 yards.
He faces the Panthers this week. They have a good secondary. I don't see it happening, especially because Mike Evans and Gronk are really his only passing options. Although the Bucs do now have Le'Veon Bell, so you never know what's going to happen. But I don't see Brady putting up those kind of numbers.
That's a lot of yards.
Yeah, and I don't think the Panthers are going to be in this game. It's not like they're going to be throwing the whole time.
No.
I believe
they
Brady
beat the Panthers like 100-3 last time. So
and Brady only had like 210 passing yards.
He doesn't need to pass it more.
Yeah, exactly.
At that point.
So
the Buccaneers also don't have to win this game.
Right, because the Packers have already clinched the number 1 seed. So
Packers have already clinched, and the Buccaneers have also clinched.
I don't think this one's getting broke.
Yeah.
Congrats,
yeah,
Manning.
no, I wouldn't be surprised
if
Tom plays the first 2 quarters and then dips.
True.
Even if I'm Tom Brady, I'm sitting that game. It doesn't matter.
If I'm
Rest
AD,
up,
I'm
get
playing
healthy.
that game.
If I'm AB, I'm going to get frostbite on my feet again.
If I'm AD, I'm a super gremlin.
I can't believe he said that. But guys, our last topic, we will skip controversial calls because I think this episode is going to be long enough, especially with the AB talk. But we'll go over game picks. I guess I'll lead it since Stat Boy is making deals in Ecuador. So, boys, last week's results, we returned to the norm of what we know on the Chaingang podcast and the way it should be, we had 3 guys finish at 12-4, and 1 guy finish at 9-7. And I know loyal fans of the Chaingang know who finished 9-7.
Classic.
And that's our Zach Wilson enthusiast, Justin LaManna, finishing at 9-7, and Dylan, Ryan, and Statboy all got records of 12-4. Justin had too many Justin picks this week, and it screwed him over. So that's what happens when you think the Falcons are going to beat the Bills and the Giants are going to beat the Bears, which to me doesn't make any sense because he doesn't believe in Danny Dimes. And then when there's quarterbacks worse than Danny Dimes playing,
he said he would never take a team with a backup quarterback, and here he is.
Yeah, he picked multiple teams, I believe, with a backup quarterback. So I don't understand his logic with that. So Ryan, do you want to wait until next week to give him a punishment, or do you want to?
You know what? I do. I want him to be there. I want him to be a part of it. I like to see the look in his eyes as I tear him down.
Right. Okay. I totally agree. Yeah, those were the results. This week we got some Saturday games back. No Thursday games this week. But the first Saturday game we got up. The first Saturday game we got up is kind of irrelevant. It's Chiefs versus the Broncos. Kind of some important injuries. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is questionable. And for the Broncos, Teddy Bridgewater, Noah Fant, Melvin Gordon, Drew Lock, Patrick Sutton, and Javonte Williams are all questionable. So basically their entire offense.
Wow.
So, guys, who do you got in that game?
Give me the Chiefs.
I'll take the Chiefs.
Agreed. They will lock in the number 1 seed, I believe. All right.
Is it if the Chiefs win and the Titans win, it's the Titans get it, or if they both?
Actually, I think it's if the Chiefs win and the Titans lose, because I believe the Titans have the number 1 seed.
Yeah,
right
the Titans are number 1 right now. So if the Titans win, they get it, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow, that's and then they get Derrick Henry back. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Unreal.
All right. Well, the last Saturday game we got Cowboys versus the Eagles. Some important notes for us to know before we make our decision. The last time they played, the Cowboys were not going through their offensive woes, and they scored 41 points on this defense. Zeke looked like a running back, and he had 95 yards and 2 touchdowns. And Trayvon Diggs had one of his 2 pick sixes. And the Eagles struggled with 13 penalties. But the Eagles have won their last 3 games at home, and the Cowboys have only allowed 1 team to score over 20 points in the last 5 games. So the Cowboys defense is looking pretty solid. Some key injuries to note. Michael Gallup is obviously out. Prayers up to him. He had a very serious ACL tear. Looked pretty bad. Jaron Kearse is questionable. Micah Parsons and Tony Pollard are also questionable. For the Eagles, we got Fletcher Cox, Dallas Goedert, Jalen Hurts, Jason Kelsey, and Alex Singleton are all questionable, and Miles Sanders is doubtful. So, guys, in a crucial well, actually, I guess it's not as crucial because the Eagles have already clinched. But who you got in this game?
I got to go with the Cowboys. I know we talked about their offensive struggles, but they still have that offense there to potentially do it. And in the division game, they seem to have proved themselves. And the Eagles aren't a 10-win team, so the Cowboys are allowed to beat them. That's kind of where they thrive. And I think with all the injuries and questionabilities and stuff like that, it's going to be tough for the Eagles, even if a lot of them play, but some of them don't. Either way, I think they're going to struggle. And they've already clinched the playoffs, so that's not like they need to come out and show who they are. I think it's going to be a Cowboys game.
Cowboys.
Yeah, I agree. I see this as a game where I think the Eagles sit Jalen Hurts because he's been dealing with injuries. And, because they already clinched, I don't think seeding is really going to matter. I mean, they might move up to the 6th seed. So I don't think, to me, it matters if you play in Tampa Bay or LA. I think they're kind of screwed either way. Minshew honestly has, I wouldn't say an equal opportunity to beat the Cowboys as Jalen Hurts does. But it's not a terrible option. So, if I'm the Eagles, I'm throwing Minshew out there, to preserve Jalen Hurts. But yeah, give me the Cowboys. So for our 1:00 games, we got Steelers, Ravens. Some important notes before we make our decision. The Ravens, as we said, are on a 5-game losing streak. I believe both teams still have a chance to get in the playoffs, but the Jags need to beat the Colts this week. So we're gonna have to see Clemson, Trevor Lawrence for that to happen. But some important injuries: Terrell Edmonds, Joe Hayden, and Big Ben are all questionable. Lamar Jackson and Marlon Humphrey are out for the Ravens. So, guys, who are you taking in this one?
It's gonna be Ben's last game. I think it's win for Ben. If they don't make the playoffs, and it's last one for him. I don't think Lamar Jackson's playing.
He is not.
I say give me the Steelers.
Said that dumbass. I agree. I think the Steelers are going to come out playing hard like they did last week. The defense looked insane. Najee looked insane. I think they're all playing for Ben at this point, and I think they're going to do it again for his last game. I think the Steelers are going to win.
Yeah, I agree. I see the Steelers taking this one. The Ravens secondary is pretty shot, so I think Deontay Johnson's going to have a big game. And I like what this Steelers defensive line's doing. They had 9 sacks last week. So I have confidence, in the Steelers defense that they'll be able to really lead this team. And it helps that Lamar Jackson's out. And the Ravens offense has kind of been struggling in general. So give me the Steelers. Next up, we got Bengals versus the Browns. Some important injuries: Joe Burrow is questionable, Trey Hendrickson is questionable, and Joe Mixon is questionable. For the Browns, Nick Chubb, Jadeveon Clowney, Kareem Hunt, John Johnson, and Denzel Ward are all questionable, but Baker Mayfield is out for this game.
Honestly, if you're the Browns, it's the smartest decision you can do is just rest all the guys, prep for next season. Give me Cincinnati, though. I think Cincinnati – I mean, they really have nothing to play for, but I still think Cincinnati's going to win.
Yeah, Bengals.
Agreed. I think the Bengals are taking it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next up, we got Packers, Lions. Jair Alexander is out. Devondre Campbell is questionable. Aaron Jones is questionable. Aaron Rodgers is questionable. And Zadarius Smith is out. For the Lions, you got Alex Anzalone. I think that's how you say his name. He is out. Jared Goff is questionable. TJ Hawkinson is out. And Amani Oruwaihu is out.
All right.
Give me the Lions.
Jordan Love is probably playing. I don't see the Packers risking Aaron Rodgers. With that being said, I will pick Detroit.
Honestly,
Lions.
I'm going to go with the Packers because I think Jordan Love had to play the Chiefs defense, in his debut. So that was a tough matchup. But, now he gets to play the Lions. So I believe in Jordan Love. Bears, Vikings, some important injuries. Akeem Hicks and Robert Quinn are both questionable. And for the Vikings, Eric Kendricks is questionable. Oh, and
the Vikes.
Justin Fields is also out.
Give me the Vikes.
So it's Kirk Cousins versus Andy Dalton. And I will take Kirk Cousins and the Vikings.
Okay. Yeah, I'll agree. Vikings are taking this one. All right, next one, we got football team versus the Giants. Some important injuries. Antonio Gibson and Montez Sweat are both questionable. For the Giants, Saquon Barkley is questionable. Kadarius Toney is questionable. And Daniel Jones and Mike Glennon are both out.
Good God. Give me the football team.
Not Mike Glennon. Give me Taylor Heineke and the football teams.
Agreed. Football team is taking this one. All right, boys. Colts, Jags. Some
The
important
most important game of the week.
It honestly is. Important injuries. Colts, DeForest Buckner is questionable. And for the Jags, Shaquille Griffin is questionable. Miles Jack is questionable. And James Robinson is out.
Give me the Colts.
Give me the Jags.
Whew.
You know,
I have a weird feeling.
I'm really tempted to pick the Jags and just speak it into existence because we really need this win.
Jaguars. I did it.
Yeah,
I'm even wearing an Andrew Luck Colts jersey, and I'll still say the Jaguars.
You know what? Screw it. I'm going to say the Jaguars. They're
yeah!
at home. They're at home. They got a shot. Next up, we got the Titans versus the Texans. Some important injuries. Derrick Henry is questionable as he started practicing this week. Julio Jones is questionable for the Texans. Camu Grieger-Hill is questionable, and Justin Reed is questionable.
Titans all the way, brother.
Yeah, give me the Titans. The Texans suck.
Titans are getting that number 1 seed, baby. For the 4 o'clock games, we got Saints, Falcons. Saints need a win and a 49ers loss to get in the playoffs. Some important injuries for the Saints. They got some hits that our offensive line is Teron Armstead and Ryan Ramczyk are both questionable. For the Falcons, Kyle Pitts is questionable.
Ooh, give me the Saints.
So I'll take New Orleans. Nolans.
No.
You know, I'm taking the Falcons.
I thought you would.
AJ Terrell's going to cause some problems for Taysom Hill.
Ooh.
All right, next up, we got the Jets versus the Bills. Some important injuries. Oh, man, these are really important injuries for the Jets. Michael Carter and Blake Burrows are both questionable. And for the Bills, Ed Oliver is questionable.
I'm going to have to go with the
give
Bulls.
me Bills Mafia.
The Bulls, baby.
Bills.
I think I'm going to take the Bills because I believe Josh Allen will still play this game because for seeding purposes. Our game of the day for this segment, 49ers versus the Rams. Some important notes to know before we make our decision. The Rams are on a 5-game winning streak. Matt Stafford, though, has kind of struggled. He's had 6 interceptions in the last 3 games. The 49ers have had 100 rushing yards or more in 3 of the last 4 games. And the 49ers have won the last 5 matchups against the Rams. Important injuries to note. 49ers, Jimmy G, Earl Mitchell, and Trent Williams are all questionable. And for the Rams, Darrell Henderson is out.
I think that the Rams are going to come out shooting. You know, Kupp's looking to break those records. I know he's not that kind of guy where he needs them, but he's in the back of his head, you know, that's got to be big for him. He's going to be playing hard. The Rams are going to be playing hard for that number 1 seed in the division. And they know what they're in. The 49ers need to play hard too, but I just don't think they're going to have it in them. I think the Rams defense is going to shut them down, and I think their offense is going to thrive pretty well. So give me the Rams.
Starting quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers this week is going to be Trey Lance, probably. Therefore, give me the 49ers. I don't know. I think the Rams, for whatever reason, sometimes they drop a random game, and I think this is that random game.
Ooh.
Also, if the 49ers win, they're in the playoffs, and the Rams are already in the playoffs. So there's a little playoff implications with this one for the 49ers. So I think it's fair to say that the 49ers are going to pull this one out.
Look, to me, if Jimmy G is healthy and starting this game, and if they have a healthy secondary, I'm taking the 49ers. But because they have so many hits to the secondary and Jimmy G might play injured.
Don't say it.
I'm taking the Rams. They're on a 5-game win
Get
streak.
booed.
I know Matt Stafford kind of struggled against the Ravens, even though they had a depleted secondary. But like Ryan said, I think the Cooper Kupp record chases, they might have some extra motivation behind that. They're playing for the division, and I think being at home is going to be huge for the Rams. They might, the 49ers might run all over them, but I have confidence in the Rams offense this week. So for those reasons, I'm taking the Rams. All right, next game we got up. Patriots, Dolphins. Some important injuries for the Patriots. Damian Harris and Dante Hightower are both questionable, but the Dolphins do not have any major injuries.
Ryan?
Pats.
Yeah, give me the Patriots.
Pats all the way.
Which is sad because I want Miami to win, but they're not.
Tua's not going to be able to do anything against that defense. All right, next game we got Seahawks Cardinals. Some important injuries for the Seahawks. Quandre Diggs is questionable. DK Metcalf is questionable, and Bobby Wagner is doubtful. For the Cardinals, both their running backs, James Conner and Chase Edmonds, are questionable.
So, the Cardinals have also already clinched the playoffs, so keep that in mind.
This is my upset of the week. Give me the Hawks.
Oh, okay.
I think you're crazy. Give me Arizona.
The Cardinals do struggle at home because Kyler Murray stays up too late playing video games. So, you know what? I'm taking the Seahawks.
To join me.
I am joining
You're both
you in
psychopaths.
the upset.
Yeah, we are. Big.
Next game up, we got Panthers versus the Bucs. Some important injuries to note. For the Panthers, Stephon Gilmore is questionable. And for the Bucs, Mike Evans is questionable. And Levante David is out. Obviously, Leonard Fournette is out as well.
This isn't even going to be a game. Bucs are going to win.
Doesn't matter who the Buccaneers start at quarterback. They're gonna mollywop the Panthers. Give me the Bucs.
I agree. The Bucs are gonna mollywop the Panthers.
Mollywop you.
Boys, our last game of the week, Sunday night.
Oh, no.
Possibly, actually, you know what? I changed my answer from the Colts to Jags.
Yeah, this is the most important game.
This probably is the most important game. Chargers versus the Raiders. Some important notes to make before we make our decision. Austin Eckler actually went off the last time they played against the Raiders. He had 145 total yards and 2 touchdowns. So, that's good news for Ryan's fantasy teams. The Chargers are 2-0 in primetime games this year, and Derek Carr has thrown at least 1 interception in the last 4 games. And, we know the Chargers have a good secondary. Some important injuries to note. Corey Lindsey is questionable for the Chargers. And for the Raiders, Josh Jacobs, Denzel Perryman, and Darren Waller are all questionable.
This is if they win. Whoever wins this game is in, right?
Yep.
Here, let me tell you, this is how this game's going to go. Jags are going to beat the Colts, okay? And then the Chargers and Raiders are going to kneel the ball every play of the game and just ends on a tie. That way they both get to go into the playoffs.
If that happens, the NFL is rigged. If they tie, I will never watch another NFL football game.
They're tying 0-0, and they're kneeling the ball, so no one gets hurt on the teams. They don't have to worry about it, and they both get to go to the playoffs. It's a win-win.
Oh,
and that would be the most entertaining Sunday night game ever.
I would hate it so much.
Views would go through the roof. But actually, the Chargers do well in prime time. Not only is it a prime time, broadcasted game, but it's a prime time game for their playoff chances. Herbert does well under this kind of pressure usually, and Eckler obviously likes to eat up the Raiders defense. So I think the Chargers are gonna win.
The Raiders barely beat the Colts. They barely beat the Broncos. They barely beat the Browns, and they got absolutely smacked by the Chiefs. This is a very hungry and a very good Chargers team. Chargers.
Yeah, I agree with you, boys. I like the Chargers this week. With Josh Jacobs probably, not playing, and even if he does, he's going to be playing injured. I know the Raiders are going to attack the Chargers because they have one of the worst run defenses. But to me, the Raiders are not, a run-first team. I still think they're going to stick to the pass. And the Chargers have a good secondary, and Derek Carr's returning the ball over too much. And like you said, Ryan, the Chargers have been good in prime time. So I like the Chargers' chances. this week. So I'm gonna take the Chargers. And boys,
Agreed.
there unfortunately is no Monday night game this
Oh.
week, so we can't pick that. So those are all of our game picks. Boys, I want to thank you for coming on.
Hey,
Thanks, Parker,
thank you.
for replacing the lost Justin,
Thanks, Pookie.
because we don't know where he is, and hopefully Statboy makes it back, but he might be too rich to come back on this podcast. He
True.
might be
Coke
well
sales are
off
through the
without us. So, boys, do you have any last thoughts before we sign off?
Well, as much as I never thought I'd be saying this, I can't let Statboy's honor die today. Go Birds.
Wow, that's saying something coming from you, buddy. As you probably say every single week, some kind of hateful comment towards Philly
I
or
hate
the Eagles.
Philly, but I love Statboy more than I hate Philly. So go Birds.
What a sweet testament to Statboy.
Yes.
I'm slowly becoming a Lions fan due to their TikToks. I think they're hilarious. So that's all I'm gonna say about that. My go Lions. That's my final thought.
Parker, I'm a little bit worried now because with Big Ben leaving, if you don't like the next quarterback, you might just solely be a Lions fan.
I'll be a Lions and Bills fan.
Not that would be the worst situation, but it would still be concerning, to say the least. But yeah, this is going to be interesting, games to watch. I hope the Steelers can make the playoffs, but part of me honestly kind of hopes not, because if what happened last year, happens again this year, and they go out in an embarrassing way, that'd be kind of sad for Big Ben. But that's why I'm rooting for the Texans this week. Because I don't want the Titans to because I would much rather play the Titans, because I don't want a repeat of what happened a couple weeks ago with the Chiefs.
Yeah.
So hopefully I'm rooting for the Texans and the Jags this week, which I never thought I would say. So hopefully they can both pull off the upsets this week. So I want to thank you again, boys. Ryan, thanks for putting in wee objects into your mouth, when you
anytime, brother.
When you get a little drifted off in the conversation. Parker, thanks again for replacing
anytime,
Justin
buddy.
this week. Hopefully we can find him so that we can give him a punishment, because it'd be kind of sad if we couldn't.
Last thing, follow my Twitch. I started streaming on Twitch, and if you like looking at my ugly face, it's twitch.tv/limeboat0. I Twitch every so often.
What kind of games do you play on, or what kind of games do you stream?
I've been obsessed with Super Auto Pets as of late, and I got my first win yesterday, and I was super hyped. So come swing by the stream. You can ask me football questions, and I will answer your football questions in the best way I can.
Right. Well, that's all we have for you, ladies and gentlemen, and Lamson Apache helicopters. So great NFL season. This has been more successful, in my opinion, than Next on Deck. I want to thank you guys for that. But we will continue throughout the off season. Maybe not every single week, because I don't know if there's going to be enough stuff every single week for us to talk about stuff. But we will continue throughout the NFL offseason. So, boys and girls and Lamson Apache helicopters, I want to thank you, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.